Good afternoon. I'm Kimura. Thank you so much for taking your time out of busy schedule and joining us here. And I believe there are a lot of people joining online as well too. So we are extremely honored to be able to host this session today. So from me, I would like to quickly start by introduce myself a little bit. Again, my name is Kimura. I joined Mercari in 2017. Before that, to talk a little bit about my background, AI was actually my expertise. So after joining Mercari, I did establish a team dedicated in AI, and I also served as a VP of platform engineering as well too. For the past 3 years, I've been overseeing the Japan business, which includes the marketplace business and also the fintech business. So I was the CTO of those two businesses here in Japan. And July of this year, I was appointed as CHRO and CAIO. Now, what I will be speaking mostly today will be the background. Why was I appointed as CHRO and CIO after serving as CTO for many years? So I would like to focus on that. And actually, we would like to cover broad topics today, and there will be other presenters from Mercari to speak to each theme. Today, I would like to talk about AI and people, and as well as organization. As CHRO and CIO, I am in a position to oversee both aspects. So I'm extremely honored and humbled to be able to talk about this, and I hope you enjoy our sessions. So this event is named as Career Fest. But in reality, as you can see here on the slide, in all these domains, we will be speaking to AI, product, engineering, organization, security, design, data, and marketing. So we will have all these leaders representing each domain, including engineers and people in HR, in product management, and as well as corporate. There will be people who will be presenting. So hope both engineers, non-engineers in the audience will be able to leave this room with some kind of takeaway. So please stay tuned. So again, I would like to come back to the theme of this event and the title of this opening session. So why was I appointed as CHRO and CIO after serving as CTO? To talk about that background, I think it's probably most important to start from this question. So I would like to speak in cadence or sequence, but just to be clear, let me jump to the conclusion first. So actually implement AI across the company, being able to become an AI native company in its true sense. So HR system, evaluation, all that HR people system, not only focusing on that is not enough. So both on the technical aspect and also on the people side, we need to design both of aspects to become a true AI native company. So why was that? So in the past 1 year, what happened at Mercari and what we learned in that journey is what I would like to cover today in my session. I think this is something that I have been speaking to in various media, including in our own media, such as Mercon and blogs. So from about a year ago, Mercari has been talking a lot about the necessity of introducing AI to organization and leveraging that technology more. However, to be honest, a year back, we didn't see much progress, although we were able to see the need of that on the ground, but we were not sure how to use AI, how to implement AI. So that was our status like a year ago. Therefore, we were not able to introduce AI or embed AI in our business in full-fledged manner. But in July last year, our CEO, Shintaro Yamada, reclined that we will become an AI native company. And since that moment, the entire atmosphere of the company shifted. So that was the beginning. And from that point of time, we tried to be committed to leverage AI and how we allocate resources, how we use our budget, all of that changed centering around AI adoption. And as it's written here, we have formed AI task force. And looking across the entire organization, we have categorized our domains into 33 areas. And we also categorize like HR, PR, engineering. So in all of those 33 domains, we went through all the work tasks that existed, and we tried to start building AI agent in those respective domains and areas. That all started about a year ago. So after we made that declaration that we will become an AI native company, the entire atmosphere shifted. And at your own company, I know you've been using a lot of AI tools as well too, like ChatGPT, Cursor, Devin, and so on. And at Mercari right now, we're using Notion and Notion AI as well. So such tool adoption is one thing, but most recently, as we will cover in our sessions, we also introduced Claude across our company as well too. So all of that happened. And in order to introduce all those tools at speed, but also ensuring safety and security, we also set up AI governance team at the same time. And this topic will also be covered in one of their sessions today, so I hope you can learn more about it. So around security, ethics, and privacy, we set up this dedicated team to review all that as we introduce AI. And we were able to build that momentum and maintain that. And we were able to reach a level where all employees are using some kind of AI tool at 100%. We were able to get to that state quite quickly. However, that still was not enough. We were not maximizing the opportunity yet. What we learned is that even we come to a state where 100% of our employees are using AI, that itself is not enough. After the tool and the adoption, fundamentally, we really need to make a mindset change of our employees. Otherwise, ingenuity of using AI tools will still be kept at the individual level, so that's only the starting point. So from here was the next step, which is about shifting the mindset of our people and also shifting how we work. So that's something that we truly learned about 6 months ago. So what did we start since then? So how can we fundamentally change how we work with an AI-first approach? So I personally considered, and I also had an extensive discussions with all the different employees. When we are put into a situation where we have to work in an AI-oriented way, to what extent can we leverage the full potential of AI and work based upon that? We decided to start an experiment to do it so. And that is called AI Pods internally. So AI Pods is a name that we come up with by ourselves. So it's not a general name, but this is our current ongoing experiment. Engineers, product managers, all these organizations that are in the product development, this is where we started this experiment of AI Pods. So one product manager will be forming a team called AI Pod, and there will be one product manager, and there will be 4 to 5 product engineers assigned to that team. So it's a very small group. So we will be working in a small group so that we can really narrow down on the stakeholders so that we can really run the process at a high speed from decision making to development. So that's the concept behind AI Pods. And also, when we try to do our product development with AI as a premise, then we really need to cross over domains. So I think this is something that you're also feeling firsthand as well, the need of crossing over your roles. So that was the important premise when we started this AI Pod. Now, I think there are multiple definitions for crossing over the boundaries, and we define it in 2 ways. One is to cross over within your role. So let's say if you're an engineer, for instance, crossing over your role, it means that within your role means that the backend engineers start getting themselves involved in the mobile development or web development. So within your domains and specialties, expanding that scope is the crossing over within your role. So that's the first definition. And the second will be crossing out crossing over outside of your role. So for example, that means engineers getting themselves involved in UI design or in QA or product management, or even being involved in the second line of defense checking like compliance. So that is working beyond your current expertise. So there are two types of crossovers. In the AI pods, we decided to try achieving both at the same time. So that was the assumption we had. Now for engineers, this was all new. So they need to depend on AI. They have to leverage AI. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to work on mobile development, web development, or cross-functional development, or not able to even try UI design. Therefore, all the AI systems or foundations that we had built upon, based upon that, each engineer will be able to do the development from end to end leveraging AI. So that's the concept of this experiment of AI pods. So for the past almost 6 months, we've been continuing doing this. And it's been 4 months since we started this experiment, so it's not been that long yet. But however, we're able to run the iteration process at a very high speed. And we feel like we've been doing this a lot already, but it's only been 4 months. And what we learned is that the crossover within the role by engineers is actually happening quite smoothly. For example, the back-end engineer doing the front-end development or the front-end engineers doing the web development, we were able to achieve all of that quite efficiently. So the starting point, we're able to introduce AI adoption 100%. Therefore, we already had this system and framework in place to develop with agents. So we were able to easily go beyond the boundaries. So if you have that preparation or readiness at your company, I think crossover within the roles by engineers can happen. And even if you don't have that readiness yet, by preparing toward it, this is possible. And I think we're able to make the decisions at a very high pace too. So all these expected outcomes we were able to deliver in this experiment. And now we had this confidence that we can really have a product development organization based on AI. But at the same time, we also learned something that is still not working very well, which is going beyond the existing roles. This crossover is quite difficult. We utilize design systems. So with the natural language and specifications, if you provide that input, we're able to actually get the Mercari's design to a certain extent. So we thought like the engineers will be able to do it. However, we're not able to get the quality of design where we are ready to release. So unless the designers are involved, we're not able to get to that level. And also in QA, we had some of the test cases being missed out. So the second type of the crossover, which is going beyond the existing expertise and specialties, this is still a challenging aspect and not happening very well. However, the purpose of this experiment is not actually achieving 100%. So this is more about identifying the pain points. So by identifying all these pain points, we can learn from that. And if we try to expand this approach across the company, we'll be able to actually avoid any disasters. So I think this was very important for us. Now, again, we have been able to identify what worked and what did not work against the vision that we want to ultimately achieve. So just a quick recap. This is something that was the biggest takeaway for me and also the core of my message today. So when we say AI native, people tend to think about this is more only about technology, for example, introducing tools. However, in the past 1 year, Mercari has been facing this. And what we learned is that it's fundamentally all about reforming your organization. Otherwise, you can't really become AI native company. Just introducing tools will be about using AI for only simple work. That will be the end state. So again, just like the example of AI pods, this is about shifting the way we work and changing our organizational setup. So that's what we're doing. So technology and also the HR strategies, instead of having both people like being responsible of that, as we understand what's happening on the ground, designing the entire people system is the real need. So that's what I strongly learned from the past 6 months.
So I just talked about what has been happening up until now, and from now on, I like to talk about why we need to make HR transformation. So the changes on the ground are happening at a really speedy manner. I think some of you are already experiencing this. If you haven't, I'm sure that you will definitely experience that this year or next year at any company. The changes like AI pods will definitely happen, not just Mercari, but also other companies. The way of working with agent will definitely increase in number, so the speed of output will also change dramatically. And because of the changes that are happening from HR perspective, it's really challenging for us to understand what's happening on the ground. So as I mentioned before, in order to lead a team, organization, I think people on the ground are the ones who have most knowledge, and people in HR are having a hard time to grasp what's happening. So that is why, as you can see on the slide, there are people who suddenly are thriving, as well as people who are struggling to thrive. And when it comes to job descriptions, for the next 1 year, I think that's going to also change a lot. Because as you can probably imagine, the old descriptions were quite simple. For example, as you can see on the slide, back-end engineers had a specific job descriptions for back-end engineers. The same applies for mobile engineers, product managers. But as I mentioned before, now we are working with AI at its core. The crossing over to different territories will be the norm. So back-end engineer will be required to work on other areas such as web development, mobile development, QA. And if you write that kind of description, that's going to be really difficult for us to hire those talents. And not just for hiring, and we need to define what kind of description we want to have. Otherwise, existing employees might not be able to be evaluated in a correct manner, and their performance might be going unnoticed or unrecognized. So that is why we're trying to redefine job descriptions as well as expectations for our employees. So as engineers, what we have to update the most is performance evaluation. With members crossing over different entries, the impact each individual can have will be much wider. This means that managers will have a hard time understanding the actual performance their members are making. So there is a chance that those high-performing members might not be able to be recognized for their work and performance. So that is why the role of AI is to correctly visualize the performance that employees are making with AI. So when we talk about evaluation, people might think that AI itself is going to evaluate employees. But our approach is not AI evaluating employees, but rather it's visualizing our performance and work of employees for correct evaluation. So we want to make sure that all the performance and work of our employees will be always visualized through AI, and ultimate responsibility will be met by humans rather than AI for evaluation. So to sum up what I've been talking about, becoming an AI native is not just a technology project, it's an organizational transformation. So that is why we need to update our organization, and that is why from Mercari, CHRO, who has the ultimate responsibility for our talent, is assigned for me, who used to be working as CTO. So right now, a lot of changes are happening at a rapid pace in a lot of places. And as CHRO, we will have to be able to reflect that in our HR and evaluation system. So that is the background of why I, as CTO, became CHRO. Now I'd like to move on to talking about our future direction, where we want to be headed, which is to rewrite the operating system for our organization with AI at its core. There are so many things we want to do, but these are 4 priorities for myself. One of them is about how we work, people and AI agents working as one, and we will try to implement AI agents to the entire organization. And second is that we want to be able to utilize the full potential of AI, not just for product development, but also for different areas of the organization, such as the corporate. So we want to try to scale an AI pods model across the entire company. And the third one is that the product development has been speeding up, and the next thing we have to focus on is decision-making process. If decision-making process is slow, we wouldn't be able to move things forward across the entire organization. Last but not least, as HR, we like to have a data-driven and AI-driven and simple evaluations, and we need to have this kind of foundation as an HR organization. So these are the 4 areas where we will be focusing on as HR for this fiscal year. And so this might not be applied to all the companies. However, for the past year, what I learned was that in order to have an AI native organization, there's a sequence that we have to follow. First, the execs have to change and make the commitments. Exec members have to first understand the potential of AI and make a declaration to utilize that. And second is to deploy the tools to the entire organization. And the last one is to transform the organization. This is where HR is going to lead, meaning that I will have the full responsibility for this. So transforming organization here, number 3 here, there are 2 phases. Rather than changing the organization from scratch at first, we want to take 2 steps. First step is the HR organization itself will embody AI native organization first, meaning that HR will understand the potential of AI and have the AI-driven work style. And then we will redefine the way we work and scale the AI into the entire organization and execute everything with AI at its core. If we do not take this sequence, all the changes will come from bottom up, and there's going to be a place where we will have AI initiatives that are becoming disjointed and company risks being apart. So that is why HR needs to go first, structure things so that AI will be utilized in an effective manner. So what is something an HR is going to do? Actually, we already have agents that are being developed and used in non-engineering areas such as corporate. For example, for PR, we have CC, which stands for Corporate Communication Agent, that is already up and running. We have already published an American article about this. So we already have a PR agent that is taking care of a lot of PR-related tasks. So this is the kind of concept that we want to apply for HR, for example, making judgments, as well as the values. Regarding HR, we want to make HR agents like that. So we want to focus on these 3 pillars. One of them is to create skills for HR-related tasks. that have all the patterns, our judgment, memory, and values, and make sure that that can be reproduced across any areas. What's important is that HR members who are not engineers being able to create these skills using plain language and turning tacit knowledge into actual knowledge that we can utilize. Of course, we will be getting support from engineer enablers, but HR members who have their own specialties expertise will be able to turn their knowledge into HR agents. So this is the diagram of what I have been just talking about. This is the overview of HR agent that we want to use. There are three phases. First is creating. HR has a lot of expertise such as hiring, HR planning, talent management, evaluation, and the employee relations. So every member has their own tacit knowledge expertise that has to be turned into actual knowledge that can be also turned into a skill. Skills can be used by Claude, ChatGPT, but something that can be input into AI. And the second is sharing those skills. So those skills will be aggregated into a skill library, which will be accessible for all HR members as well as members outside of the HR organization whenever they have any inquiries that they want to set. So this will be usable not just for HR members but for non-HR members. And the third one is utilizing those skills. The combined results will become an HR agent that will have our judgment, memory, HR values for everyone to use, to be partner of everyone. So this process has been already up and running in an agile manner. Rather than trying to be perfect, we are making agent, making improvements, and if there are any improvement points, we can just improve on that with all the HR members. We are in the process of creating that kind of improvement cycle. The other important thing is that when the speed of product development gets faster, there will be a bottleneck. Non-engineers, such as corporate members, will be required to be able to keep up with the speed of product development. For example, legal members, security, governance, compliance, PR, all those areas might be the bottleneck for the organization. So that is why I want to scale AI pods into non-engineering organizations, and I like to keep sharing this information with outside of the organization moving forward. So what I want to realize is expand what we can do and crossing over into new areas and become someone we have never been, and being able to what we want to do with the power of AI. And rather than relying on just individuals, we want to have an organizational system to realize that. So once again, these are the sessions we will be having for today. Each leader in each organization will have a share what we have been trying and learning with all of you. So please enjoy until the end. Mercari is an organization that doesn't fear change and enjoy taking on new challenges with global mindset, and we like to work with the people who share the same mindset. So since our time is limited for today, we will not be able to have enough time for a Q&A. We have after party after today's session, so please go talk to me when you have time. And there's one question that I wanted to answer. Here's a question. Knowing what you know today, what would you do differently if you could go back in time by year? I think this is a great question, and there's only one answer to this. So there was a clip about agent tape before this session, so that was the key. The biggest feedback that I received was that creating a momentum, even though we have a momentum, people do not have time to learn or create agents because they are already too busy on their hand. But we haven't been able to tackle this issue at all. It's not like people do not have any motivation, but they just do not have enough time to work on AI. So we want to make sure that people will be able to focus their time on creating AI for the whole day.
So we were able to finally begin this series of AI Agent Day in the last 3 months. So like non-engineers spending one day to build their own agents using Notion AI and also Claude. And actually, there were a lot of members who were able to experience firsthand, for the first time ever, to build their own skills and agents. And that was the moment they started working on building their own agents. So that is the positive change that we saw. So if I were able to go back 1 year ago and do something differently, then from very beginning, instead of just forming AI task force, I would like to get all the employees involved so that they're able to build an organization where we are able to use AI and build agents from firsthand. So that would be the only change that I would like to expect to see. So I won't be able to take all the questions now, but it's going to be a long day and I'll be around. So I hope everybody will enjoy the sessions. And that concludes my session. So thank you so much for your kind attendance.